invite ka. Medyo late na ako, guys. PACC Pasay. Teka. Mag-antay-antay lang tayo, guys. Hi, Alea. Morning. Waiting lang muna tayo, guys, because busy pa sila nag-aalsa.
Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Let's call, on the part of the Senate, let's call this bicameral conference meeting to order.
Good afternoon, everyone. On the part of the House of Representatives, the Bicameral Conference Committee proceedings on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 4058 or the fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Bill are hereby resumed.
All right, thank you, Chairperson Mika, and let me acknowledge the presence of Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, and Senator Amy Marcos.
On the part of the House, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Representative J.J. Romualdo, Representative Javi Benitez, Representative Brian Yamsuan, Representative Pepito Alvarez, Representative Albert Garcia, Representative Christine Singson Mihan, Representative Rufus Rodriguez, Representative Marcelino Libanan, and Representative Alan T.
Thank you. With your permission, Chairperson Mika, I would like to just go back to the Department of Transportation because we received a letter, actually you also received a letter dated December 10, 2025. This is addressed to you and to myself. And this is a request for funding support for LRT Line 1, Cavite Extension, Common Station, and Automated Fare Collection System. And let me just read a part of this letter. We gratefully acknowledge said amendments. However, some critical projects such as the LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension, Common Station, and Automated Fare Collection System remain without program appropriations. Hence, we again respectfully request the support of the Bicameral Congress to include an additional 3.6 billion pesos for the said projects. But the source of the funds will be a realignment within their department. So let me just move the realignment of their funds to the automated fare collection system. So the motion is from the Office of the Secretary, Metro Manila Subway Phase 1, 1.8 billion pesos. North-South Commuter Railway System, 1.8 billion pesos. 2, Office of the Secretary, Operation and Maintenance of the Metro Rail Transit, 614 million pesos. LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension Project, 2 billion pesos. And also to budgetary support to Government Corporation, DOTR, Light Rail Transit Authority, Systems and Facilities Improvement, 1 billion pesos.
I'd just like to manifest, and when before we act on that, the two sources, the Metro Manila Subway Project Phase 1 and the North-South Commuter Railway System are GOP counterparts to foreign assisted projects. And as we all agree, as much as possible, we really don't want to touch projects under the foreign assisted projects. However, we would like to make it very clear to the public that the request written to both Senator Sherwin and myself emanated from Secretary Banoy, and he himself identified these two projects as a source. So we would just like to maintain on the part of the BICAM conferees, we really don't want to touch foreign assisted projects as much as possible. But given that the department itself was the one who identified it as a source, to realign it to a very important, to two very important projects, we permitted the said realignment.
I had a conversation with him about this, and sinasabi niya itong common station sa for LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension napakatagal ng delay, and he is looking to get this up and running this coming 2026. So he suggested this realignment so that they can already start building the common station. At the same time, itong automated fare collection system is to really come up with a cashless automated fare collection system that uses the most latest technology. Again, this is for the convenience of the riding public. As we all know, the riding public takes this public transportation. So that's why sabi niya na importante to dahil para ma-upgrade na nila yung kanilang technology. But I do agree with you that this type of realignment should emanate from the department so that it's well coordinated with them.
Thank you, Senwin. Just to add to that, the explanation of Secretary Banoy pertaining to the necessity of funding the MRT operation and maintenance emanates from the fact that if the common station is not finished by the first quarter of 2027, even if matapos daw po yung MRT 7 by the same time, there will be no connectivity to MRT 3. So that's why it's time critical for us to be able to fund this. And for the second request, the AFCS, absent of the funding, this will risk non-usage of the beep cards in all of our rail lines. So we will have to revert to cash payment if this is not funded. So those are the only reasons why Senwin and I believe that this is a realignment that we would like to present to the members of the BICAM committee for consideration, as these are two very important programs.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Senator Lauren and then Senator Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, I will support my chair. But I pose the question, if this is so urgent, which I think it is, why did the department, regardless of who is sitting as secretary, did not include it in the initial NEP? First quarter of this year up to June. Assuming they did not think about its necessity then, why did they not present it during plenary debates in the House of Representatives and in the Senate? Assuming they still forgot, why did they not write the letter during the time of the HGAB? Assuming they forgot again, why did they not give it way before the BICAM? Mr. Chair, ito na po ang aking pinupuntos. Hindi lang po ngayon, mula pa nung ako'y nag-chair 10 years ago. Bakit ba tayo mga Pilipino palaging afterthought? Palaging pahabol? Palaging last minute? Kasi hindi naman to bagong proyekto. Naniniwala po ko, at don't get me wrong, I will support it at wala namang karagdagang hinihingi. Pero inaayos lang na yung budget. Hindi ba nila inayos mula nung inisip nila? The good secretary I know has been in the department for a long time. Career yan eh. So, hindi pwedeng masabi dahil bago. Nandyan naman sila. At bago siya, si Sec Vince Dizon, siguro naman nag-usap sila tungkol sa kanilang NEP. I put that on the table, Mr. Chair, while supporting your motion to adopt it. I'll repeat. Let it be a lesson to those doing their budgets, whether you're a big department or a small bureau or commission. You present it to DBM. You think about it for 1 year. Pagkatapos po ng Kapaskuhan New Year, gagawa na naman sila ng NEP ng 2027, all agencies up to March. Please think. Please plan. Don't come to us in December for something that is so essential and basic. So, it's an afterthought, even if it's urgent and basic. I have to put that on record. Pasensya na po. Thank you.
Senator Amy.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Recognize Senator Amy first.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Kahapon pinuna ko na po ito dahil tama ba yung pagkaintindi ko, binawasan na ng halos kalahati ang Metro Manila Subway at yung ganun din yung North-South Commuter Railway dahil sang-ayon naman tayo na napakababa ng performance. Pero ito ang inaasam-asam ng ating mga sumasakay ng iba't ibang public transport na sa wakas magkakaroon tayo ng subway system. Ang pagkaintindi ko ba, babawasan pa lalo itong dalawang to. So we are decreasing further reductions of 1.8 and 1.8 din sa bawat isa. Is that the understanding? So from 25 billion Metro Manila Subway, and 37 or 38 billion of the North-South, may bawas pa ng 1.8 kada isa. Palit na lang ng palit to. Paano yan? Palaki ng palaki yung commitment fees natin at yung reputational damage natin talagang insurmountable na. So babawasan pa to lalo. Foreign funded to, nakakaya to. Balasubas na yung Pilipinas, Diyos ko.
I'm on the phone with Secretary Banoy to clarify the queries of Senator Legarda and Senator Marcos. So with tinanong ko po exactly how Sen. Lauren asked it as to why it was not there in the NEP and it hasn't been brought up either during the House deliberations or the Senate deliberations. What happened po is that both of these, the AFCS project as well as the common station, were supposed to be under two different PPPs to be supposedly managed by the LRMC. They were waiting for the LRMC to take care of all the documentations, all the requirements for the PPP to push through in the year 2026. Up until this point, hindi pa po nagsasubmit yung LRMC. So given the criticality,
What is LRMC?
what's LRMC?
It says something, abbreviates it, he better explain. Light Rail Transit Extension. Should call out the head of that LRMC. I mean, we cannot be hostage by people who are not doing their job on time. I mean, ugali.
The LRMC po is the Light Railway Management Corporation.
That's under him.
Management
O
Corporation.
pagalitan niya yung head niya. At saka pag may deadline, hingi niya yung deadline. Ganun lang. Forever. Kasi kung papayagan natin sila, lahat na lang ng ahensya pwede mag-internal realignment.
This one po, Sen. Lauren, the LRMC is a private corporation. So this is the private group that the OTR was supposed to work with.
Whatever. He should have made deadlines.
Actually, in fairness to the department, nasa tier 2 siya. Nakalagay ho siya sa tier 2, but hindi ho natanggap because of fiscal space. However, you're right, Senator Lauren, being a veteran in the Committee on Finance, na merong opportunities, many opportunities to submit.
Hearing natin.
Correct. So,
Senate
nakakaano
hearing,
talaga.
sinabi.
But then again, when we were evaluating the projects, lalo na yung automated fare collection system, ito napakahalaga dahil ngayon yung ating fare collection system ay merong manual, merong yung old technology. So they wanna move forward with the new technology, parang sa Hong Kong or sa Bangkok na tinatap nilang pwedeng gamitin credit card. So that's the essence. So that's why when we were evaluating this, nakita namin na maganda naman yung kanilang proposal. As to the yung query ni Senator Amy, pagdating kasi sa dito sa hold on. Hold on. Okay. Meron pa ho, let's say dito po sa North-South Commuter Railway, meron pa ho silang approximately 30 billion pesos sa continuing appropriations ho nila. Kaya malaki-laki pa ho. Pagdating ho dito sa Metro Manila Subway Project, meron pa ho silang 10 billion pesos na naka-allocate. So that's why I think because nung in-evaluate ho nila yung kanilang utilization rate as well as the importance of the other projects, nag-realign ho sila nung kanilang budget. So dahil meron pa hong natitirang 10 billion and also close to about 30 billion no, dito sa kanilang about mga projects ho nila.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Senator Erwin?
it's just a point of suggestion lang. Siguro, Bicam po ito di ba? We're trying to reconcile between the House, the GAB, and ours. And this is not the time wherein we insert a budget like this. May panahon, Mr. Chair, na sa NEP and then sa House Committee, sa atin, sa committee natin. Bakit dito? Problema dito, Mr. Chair, baka naman maging kaugalian na ito in the future. Every time magba-bicam, ipahabol natin kasi okay lang pala dahil yung unang bicam nila na nag-live, nahabol naman ng LRT. Baka every year na lang, pag hindi nila nailagay sa NEP, nakalimutan nila sa committee level, hahabulin lang sa Bicam. This should be, we have to set rules here, Mr. Chair, kasi baka maging kaugalian na ito in the near future, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, precisely that was in Tier 2, except that the documents were not ready at the time of the hearings of both the House and the Senate. But then we have a request from our Secretary Banoy Lopez, that we give this to them. It is much needed, explained by the two chairperson. So they were not remiss in putting it there, but it was Tier 2. And the problem with Tier 2, almost always, they are really not included in our provision of the budget. So I move for approval for this, Mr. Chairman.
Just the query of Senator Irwin, just before I move on that motion. Tama ho kayo, Senator Irwin. No? That's why we are putting this to the body para makita rin ho natin yung mga request ng mga agencies. Dahil in fairness to them, along the way, may mga bagay rin silang nakikita na dapat pondohan o dapat hindi na pondohan o dapat ilipat po sa mas maimportanteng mga proyekto along the way, because sinasubmit na ho nila ito sa around July. No? So may mga after July, may mga bagay sila ho nakikita na kailangan ho nilang pondohan para magamit na ho immediately. So that's why actually the letter is an appeal letter to us. If we will accept their appeal to realign these amounts so that they can operate much better and also execute new projects such as the automated fare collections
Mr. Chair,
next year.
just want to add, because I came from the executive also as secretary of a department back then. Pag sinabihan po kami na we have to prepare for the NEP, we informed agencies under us. Hindi po ba nagawa nila ito? I mean, like LRMC, under naman po sa kanila yan. They could have asked LRMC, what are your requirements? What do you need? Bakit ngayon pa po, they will have to come up here, I mean, and then state us like, oops, nakalimutan namin, oops, sa Tier 2. Binibigyan naman sila July, August, September, October, November, December. I mean, after 5 months, Mr. Chair. That's what I'm trying to point out, Mr. Chair.
If I may respond po, from what I understand po, what happened was it was in Tier 2. It was not funded by DBM because I think DBM mostly funds Tier 1. They were fine with keeping it in Tier 2 because they thought that the PPP was going to materialize. And then eventually, when they realized that the PPP was not going to materialize, at saka po nila linaban ngayon, kasi otherwise po it will be detrimental to our commuters and to the interoperability of the different MRT stations. So siguro po sa amin po, the stand po of myself and Chair Win, as much as possible, ayaw po talaga namin mag-entertain ng ganito. They've had 6 months since the NEP was, almost 6 months since they submitted the NEP last August 13. So I agree po, I very much agree. We wouldn't have said yes to this or even entertain this if these two were not critical projects. Medyo hindi po kasi lang talaga maganda yung consequences kung hindi po natuloy yung common station at saka yung beep cards. Kaya lang naman po namin in-entertain. Thank you po.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Senator Kiko.
Yes, well, I share the concern of Senator Erwin Tulfo, and therefore perhaps moving forward, and for the guidance of future BICAMs, do we take this as precedent setting, that in future BICAMs we will accommodate matters that should have been raised at the committee levels in the House or in the Senate? I think that should be put.
你打咗針預防血清3年未啊？
流感針啊嘛，年年都要打㗎啦。
係肺炎球菌針啊，唔使年年打㗎。同時感染細菌同流感，住院死亡率更高出3倍。咁梗係要諮詢醫生意見，接種埋肺炎球菌針啦。15價肺炎球菌結合液。
On record, so that because if I may, as we act on this particular request of this particular agency, this should not be a precedent. It should not be considered or set a precedent for future bicameral conferences, conference committees, and for future budget deliberations. That in the last moment, in the last 5 meters of a 10,000 meter run, somebody will step in and say, can you include this and approve this? So hopefully, for the guidance of future bicameral conference committee meetings, while we will support the position of our chair, this should not be considered or as precedent setting, and that future budget requests of this nature should not point to this decision of the bicameral conference committee as precedent.
Thank you, Senator Kiko. Senator Erwin?
Well, I support, Mr. Chair. I mean, both chairpersons, their point, I support. If it's a necessity, why not? Di ba? Kailangan po talagang gawin ito, yung Cavite Extension, lagyan ng pondo, automated fare collection system, para isa na lang. Di ba? I really do support. Pero my point here, Mr. Chair, is that BICAM is to reconcile the conflicting provisions of the House and the Senate versions of the bill. Hindi po parte ng conflicting provisions. So yun po sinasabi ko. But I do support, Mr. Chair. I rest my case, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Erwin, and thank you, Senator Kiko, for those intervention. Sa totoo lang ho, ang dami ho naming nakukuhang pahabol. Si Senator Lauren, in fact, mentioned a few items. Ibang bang department, diba? Ched, I think, also texted you. Sa akin, meron din ho. Kami ni Chair Mika, ang dami hong mga pahabol request. But ako will approach this on a case-to-case basis depending on the urgency and the importance of the request. Dahil ho dito, common station, automated fare collection, gift card, after analyzing and consulting with the department, we saw that this is important to make our public transportation system seamless, no? Kasi meron siyang intermodal capability. But yung mga others, yung mga pahabol, hindi na ho namin pinesent dito po sa body. No? So with that, we have a motion from from Congressman Rufus.
Second.
Judy seconded. The proposal is deemed approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Kiko.
Well, it was already raised earlier that there were several requests. I just want to place this on record that after we approved the budget of the Department of Agriculture, that evening, December 15, when did we approve the DA budget? December 13, the BICAM approved the DA budget. On December 15, the DA secretary wrote to the chairperson submitting a list of farm-to-market road projects with coordinates amounting to the same amount that we approved, 33 billion, except that 8.9 billion worth of projects were introduced as in the December 15 letter, which was not in the list of projects that we approved on December 13. How do we act on that?
Chair. Mr. Chair, at the end of the day, I will support my chair. But let me please put this on record. Just like I spoke last night and now about the OTR, it's the same issue with the Department of Agriculture. If the more than 8 billion pesos worth of farm-to-market roads were indeed essential in serving our farmers in the hinterlands, why was it not included in the NEP or even in the HGAB? Even if you say that there are coordinates, why did they swap? So I would like to know what were the more than 8 billion pesos worth of FMRs that are deleted now from the HGAB and the Senate version that we are reviewing in the BICAM. Sino po ang mga magsasaka na maaapektuhan sa matatanggal na FMR dahil pinalitan ng DA ang kanilang listahan ng farm-to-market road? I don't understand. So, ano mangyayari po sa farm-to-market roads na sinumite ng DA, na inaprubahan ng HGAB, na inaprubahan po natin, tapos papalitan dahil sa isang sulat? So, I would just like to make it clear that these are not Senate-introduced FMRs. We did not introduce or submit a list to the Secretary, just to be fair, okay? Insofar the Senate is concerned, we understand and support the House amendments for farm-to-market roads in specific rural districts, and that is both needed, and as long as there are coordinates and not just a lump sum, that is supported. But suddenly there's a change. And as I said, I spoke to Secretary Laurel on Sunday morning because I was confused with the 16B NEP and the another 16B HGAB. And he said, I don't know if I should say it here. Okay, he said something. I will tell you later. Then I'm surprised that he's sending another letter now for another 8 billion. So I would like to know, I have to be enlightened, Mr. Chair. Why is there suddenly, within 3 days of that conversation, there's a change of heart or a change of mind of farm-to-market roads worth 8 billion? Ano po ang mangyayari sa tinanggal niyang 8 billion? At anong nangyari sa ating kanayunan na kailangan bigla ng 8 billion na ito? So may switching. May switching, may swap. So yung tinanggal po na 8 billion, malay ko kung saan yun, saan po ilalagay? Sa NEP ng 2027? Ito pong bagong 8 billion, saan po nanggaling yan? Ano mga distrito, probinsya, bundok, kanayunan, saan? Please enlighten this representation. I'm not trying to interpolate my colleague because I did not receive the letter. I just want to understand, please. Again, if we will make this a habit, then every agency will change internal realize. Oh, pareho naman ang level eh. Papalitan na namin ng laman. Ano tayo, halo-halong kalamay? Ang BICAM, nangyayari ba sa akin noon? Ay, hindi ko tatanggap ng ganyan. Last minute? Di. So, maybe you can, what is that agricultural emergency that the DA will have to change 8 billion worth of FMRs? I want to know and understand. I'm not angry at the vice chair or the chair of Agri. I'm just passionate when there's something I do not understand and I need to comprehend it, Mr. Chair. In the end, I will support my chair.
If I may place on record, this request has not been acted on. So we continue to, well, at least for the Senate, we are standing by the previous list that we approved on December 13. Now, if unless there are members of the Bicameral Conference Committee who disagree, I think we should stick with the December 13.
Mr. Chair.
And for the record, the December 13 list has coordinates. The 33 billion peso December 13 list. We approved it with the coordinates. And the 8.9, likewise, has coordinates, but they're a different set of projects from that which we approved on December 13. In other words, they are removing 8.9 billion pesos worth of projects that we approved with coordinates and replacing them with 8.9 billion worth of new or different projects also with coordinates.
Alam ko sasabihin po nila, pareho naman yung level. Pero again, kung pinayagan natin sa DOTR, sa DA, what will stop other agencies? Change na lang yung listahan ng classroom sa DepEd. Change na lang yung ibang mga highway at multipurpose sa DPWH. Palitan na lang lahat ng irigasyon sa NIA. Tanggalin na lang. These lapses will affect the planning of projects that are, we're so diligent in our responsibility to plan, to submit requirements. Tapos isang sulat lang, palit. I think you have, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Okay, hindi ako yung chair. Ano yung dahilan? May dahilan. If it's a national security issue, yes. If it's so important, yes, I want to understand. Gusto ko lang maintindihan. So there's something he knows that we don't know.
May I venture a guess based on,
You should not guess
no, it's
because
not a
the
guess.
BICAM is
No,
not
let me
guessing.
finish, ma'am.
Yeah.
May I venture a guess based on the letter that he sent to us and the reason that he gave? Part of the reason that he gave was, please be informed that the earlier submission was made without the approval of the Secretary of Agriculture, as the undersigned was on official medical leave at that time. So,
In-approve yung hindi niya in-approve.
so and this is where my guess comes in.
Hindi pwedeng dahil siya.
No, this is where my intelligent guess comes in, if I may be allowed to perhaps try to understand what happened here. This is the first time we have asked for coordinates. We've never asked for coordinates before. In previous budgets, it has always been lump sum. So it is possible that because this is the first time that this is being requested, then therefore the preparation of these coordinates had to go through a process that somehow there were gaps. And that being the case, because of the gaps, they had to correct the submissions. That is my intelligent understanding. We've never asked for coordinates and an itemized list of projects in the past. This is the first time.
Mr. Chair, may I? Ang DPWH, months ago, sabi, overpriced. Monoan budget yan. Overpriced. Ibaba. Paulit-ulit. Sa hearing, sa technical working group, sa media, even the president said the same thing. Our chair worked diligently with LBRMO, everyone, and DPWH, binaba. Ayon sa kanilang inputs at methodology, binaba. In-approve natin. Sa BICAM, sabi, itaas. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng impasse for a while, pero nasolve natin sa CMPD. Thank you to the House for agreeing for a truthful, accurate budget. Salamat. Tapos, DOTR. Yan, may letter. Internal realignment. Sige na. Tapos, ang DA. Yung 8.9, hindi pala official transmission yan. Hindi pala in-approve ng secretary. We approved it. What does it make of us? It's not an official list. Now, this is the official list. So we better have rules. I think the Bicameral Committee has to have rules. When there are letters from the cabinet, that means letters given to the chair are not official transmission. We have to check. There should be maybe a watermark. So they're saying that these were not official transmissions because the secretary was on medical leave. Ano ibig sabihin yan? So, sino nagpadala? USEC niya? What was it? A fake list? And then the Bicameral Conference Committee approved it? Hindi ganyan eh. Hindi, nangyayari ba yan nung 10 years ago? Hindi eh. Not as, walang ganyan. Hindi nangyayari yan noon. Hindi ganitong kagarapal ang pagpapalit-palit. ibaba ang presyo. Sumunod. Ayon sa kanila, itaas ang presyo. I-recompute. DPWH yan. DOTR, realignment, maliit lang naman. DA, palitan, hindi ako yun, hindi kami yun. Walang coordinates yan, or meron pero mali yung listahan. Yan ang sinabi ko, 3 na yan. O ilan pa? Baka maglapitan lahat ng ahensya ngayon, pwede pala magpalit. Palitan namin lahat ng laman, pareho naman ang level eh. Mr. President, I'm sorry, I have to express my disappointment and exasperation. There has to be some discipline in government. Di ba sa eskwela tayo, pinag-aral tayo, finish or not finish, pass your paper. Pag nagraduhan na ng teacher, tama na, hindi pwedeng, magpalit yung seatmate ko, mali. Ano tayo? How can we be a good example to people? Kung sa Bicam na, nagpapalit. Tama yung sinabi. Disagreeing provision, sabi ni Senator Erwin.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Sen.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the Secretary is the head of agency. He's the alter ego of the President. He has the overall knowledge on how his department should go, especially on Farm to Market Road. And so therefore, when the Secretary recommends, we have to give so much weight for that under the principle of regularity of function, that the Secretary is regularly doing his job. And to the best of his knowledge and ability, that is the list that he believes should be implemented. So therefore, I support the new list because that comes after a good study by the Secretary. He was on leave when that was given. Probably the NEP did not have the proper amounts and the proper coordinates, and there was none. Now there are coordinates, and he wants to correct it. He wants to have something that will be implementable. So I support, Mr. Chairman, the new list of Secretary Kiko Laurel. Thank you.
If I may, Senwin, I'll just read part of the letter sent by Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel explaining the new list. After thorough consideration, the department has identified the final FMR projects that are critical in linking key production areas. These projects were selected based on their readiness for implementation, consistency with national and regional development priorities, and their projected contribution to enhancing agricultural productivity, minimizing post-harvest losses, and expanding market access for farmers in priority areas. Further, the department will be undertaking for the first time the direct implementation of farm-to-market road projects. Hence, the attached final list consists of projects that are operationally workable on the part of the department and conducive to timely and effective implementation. I'm not sure if this is the same letter that Sen Kiko has on hand, because also in the first paragraph, he explained that the undersigned was on official medical leave at the time that during the earlier submission so he says that please be informed that the earlier submission was undertaken without the approval of the Secretary of Agriculture, as the undersigned was on official medical leave at the time.
Actually, I was talking to Senator Lauren. Ang tanong niya kung nangyayari ho to nung mga unang panahon. Ang sagot ko, hindi ko alam dahil kayo-kayo lang nag-uusap eh. No?
胃痛胃脹，加維事項3分鐘，同別為不適。
Ngayon, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying in general, no? In general. I'm not saying you, Ma'am Lauren, no? I'm saying in general dahil this is the innovation that we introduced so that all of these things will be brought out to the body. Pag-usapan natin, pagdebatihan natin, we might not agree, we might find some solutions, pero ang importante ho dito, nalalaman ng lahat. No? Hindi lang sa ilan-ilan lang po ang nalalaman. In fact, dati ho kasi, lalabas na lang po yung General Appropriations Bill, doon na lang natin nakikita kung ano yung mga projects na pumapasok at hindi pumapasok. Pero ito ho ang kagandahan po ng open BICAM or ganitong proceedings para mapag-usapan ho natin.
That's why, thank you for that, Chair. Totoo, nung panahon dati, 10 years ago, yung dalawang chair and El Beremo and the APRO staff. That's why I was asking Attorney Doblon 10 years ago, I can't recall, meron bang mga pahabol na ganyan? But she says, meron, pero pag na-discuss na yung department, tapos na. Or hindi ganyang kalalaki yung changes. But then, I appreciate the candor of the chair and his calmness in taking all this. But it's up to you whether to accept it or not. I said at the end, I will accept and support your decision. We just have to agree na wag masanay lahat ng ahensya na magpalit sa last minute. We have to change that attitude. Yeah. But I support you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, with the permission of our colleagues, apparently the letter read by Representative Swansing mentioned that please be informed that the earlier submission was made without the approval of the Secretary. This, as we were made to understand and relayed by the Department of Agriculture, the submission here was the NEP list of projects. NEP list of projects, and therefore, and what happened subsequently was that because it was submitted without the approval of the Secretary, the BAFE head was removed or was replaced. So that's the information that has been relayed to us, and therefore. They are now submitting this new list. What's important, I think, in the end, and again, I share the concern that these last-minute appeals should not be the norm. What's important here is that for the first time, the list has coordinates. This has never been done before, and therefore, the accountability and transparency objective is met. Of course, we have to continue to be vigilant, and that's why we have identified this information. We have also put forth a provision, special provision on citizens' participatory audit, which means as the project is being implemented, the COA has a memorandum circular that provides for a program wherein citizens can participate in the audit. And we've also included that as a special provision in the implementation of the farm-to-market road projects. So again, the key here is there is transparency, there is accountability, there are coordinates that are now made available point to point, and there will be a special provision on citizens' participatory audit. So having said that, again, this should not be a precedent for future bicameral conference committee meetings, and we share the position of the chair that we will support the inclusion of this new list.
If I may, Senwin, so I agree with the statement of Senator Lauren and Senator Kiko. We also don't want this to be the norm. All of these last-minute requests from the Secretary should not be the norm, and we support that. Siguro po ang magkagandahan po dito, na-check na po kasi talaga isa-isa ng DA yung mga proyekto na ipapasok po natin sa budget sa 2026. As they explained it, they selected it based on their readiness for implementation, consistency with national and regional development priorities, and their projected contribution to enhancing agricultural productivity, minimizing post-harvest losses, and expanding market access for farmers in priority areas. So, bukod po sa masisigurado na mai-implement itong mga proyekto na ito dahil specific na po yung areas Kaya na po ding silipin ng ating mga kababayan, ng mga auditors, mga third party na gustong mag-check, identified po Bukod dun sa increased implementability ng mga projects, nasisigurado din po nito na na-identify na ng DA kung ano lang talaga yung pinaka-prioridad ng mga farm-to-market road. So, hindi na po yung mga lugar siguro na, di ba, mauuna na yung pinaka-connected doon po sa mga main thoroughfare. So, yun po siguro yun. Mas sigurado po na may implement yung mga programa at masisigurado din po na yung atin pong popondohan ay yung mga talagang pinaka-prioridad at pinaka-mahalaga ng mga farm-to-market roads. And again, I share the sentiments of our colleagues that this should not be the norm moving forward in the succeeding budget seasons.
We appreciate the concurrence of the House Chair, Kong Swansing. Let me just put on record, Mr. Chair, that when the GAA is signed and we have an oversight committee, I'd just like to see the comparison of the 8.9B as part of the 16B FMR in the NEP, which was unauthorized, but we're surprised, and that should not happen again when departments send us communication. Sabi nga ni Chair, binigay sa atin eh. Malay naman natin, NEP nga ito. Malay naman natin finar niya yung tao niya. The internal troubles of a department is not our problem. It becomes our problem now when we're informed 6 months later that it's not authorized. I mean, that's dangerous. So, and then we want to compare what was the unauthorized list and what is the new list. But again, I leave it to the chair of the Agri during our oversight by 2026. Thank you.
And just to manifest po, in terms of the completion of the list as of today, out of the 1,674 projects that comprise the 32 billion, 99.4% of the projects are already complete with all the coordinates and all the specific location. So, 10 lang po sa 1,674 na projects yung wala pang coordinates. So, yung sinubmit po nila na listahan, 99.4% na po yun ng 32 billion. Kompleto na, halos kompleto na po yung listahan na sinumite po ng DA para po dun sa 32 billion.
Sa akin lang naman, if the secretary is saying na hindi ito yung kanyang approved projects at pinaalis niya yung kanyang head nung kanyang Bureau of Farm Equipment, mahirapan naman ho siyang i-implement yung projects na hindi niya na-evaluate o hindi niya ho nakita o hindi niya na-approve. So it's going to be very difficult for him, especially na wala na yung tao doon na nagsabit itong project. So if I put myself in the shoes of the secretary, tapos may mga projects doon na hindi ko na-approve, paano ko naman i-implement ho yung kung tingin ko ay hindi ho nararapat yung mga projects na yun. Mahirap rin for the secretary, no? Especially in 2026, bago lahat yung kanyang mga pondo. No?
Yes, if I may add, apart from the two earlier
Selection of tools used to be my biggest headache. This was true until Nextworks came along. Their tool management system automatically reads and logs each tool's info and usage history. The embedded camera identifies the material and finds its location. The automatic tool changer, total game changer. After every tool change, it auto-calibrates the tool length. It auto-generates the tool pad with just one click, even with over 18,000.
special provisions of citizens participatory audit and what's the other one? No. We will have the online dashboard so that this will now be made available online. The DA has agreed to that. Very basic also in terms of the safeguard is we remove the farm to market road projects from the DPWH and place it under the DA. And we also identified possible modes of implementing the farm to market road projects to include local government partnerships as well as PPP or private public partnerships. When the local governments are involved, when private sector is involved, there is greater participation, there is greater transparency, and therefore greater accountability. So all these are part of the special provisions that we have put forth for the Senate version. And I understand when we approved it, because we already manifested this earlier, it has likewise been adopted by the Bicameral Conference Committee, these special provisions.
Any more comments?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second, the motion to adopt the new list that came from the Department of Agriculture, duly signed by the Secretary himself, Secretary Francisco Laurel, is team approved. And in the interest of transparency, we will publish the amendments that were made in the website. So we will also upload the list of amendments that we approve during the Bicameral Conference Committee. All right, so with that, we go to the departments or the agencies. So we'll go back to the regular programming.
Thank you.
So we now proceed with the Department of Tourism.
Ano pa rin tayo?
On the part of the House for the Department of Tourism, the amount reflected in the HGAB reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 3,651,214,000.
All right, the Department of Tourism, Office of the Secretary, 3.6 billion. Branding campaign, 1 billion pesos. General Management and Supervision, 699 million pesos. Tourism Planning, 644 million pesos. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Amy.
Yes, a quick question. We all understand branding to mean a unique sign, a symbol, a logo, perhaps a message, a slogan, a promise, a unique value proposition. This is done once in the conceptualization of a brand and the launching of such. Itong Love Philippines, nalunsad ito noong Hunyo pa ng 2023. Bakit taon-taon magre-rebrand na naman ba yan? Bakit taon-taon binibigyan natin ng pera na napakalaki, kalahating bilyon? Dinoble pa ng Senado ng 1 bilyon. Babaguhin na naman ba yan? Nakailang bago na yan? 2023 pa yan, 2024, 2025, 2026. I-rebrand na naman ba yan? Bakit? At ang baba-baba naman ng performance natin. Hindi pa tayo nakaka-recover mula 2019. Ba't ba natin pinabago-bago kada taon? Hindi ko maintindihan itong gastusing to.
I'll answer.
大腦每秒萬億反應，遇上敏感突襲，抗敏成分，話就話唔眼瞓，但拖慢腦轉數，仲靠舊 model 幫你抗敏，革命性抗敏智慧快敏清，藥效唔上頭，不干擾大腦運作，只針對敏感症狀，自省抗敏配方，超越無睡意，表現最好嘅你，拍住你，抗敏保持自省狀態，藍白盒快敏清，醫生同你都信賴嘅抗敏 partner。
Our colleague, the chair and I were there in our meeting, and we always said that it's not just the Department of Tourism that must promote tourism. It must be a whole of government approach, meaning security, facilities, when you land in the airport, so it's
Yes.
etc.
Yes, given, but the exercise of branding is a very specific
I'm getting there.
promotional and
Yes.
advertising
Yes.
effort.
Thank you.
And it
Let me
need not be
finish.
repeated year
Yes.
on year.
Okay. There was an allocation in the House. I think that's 500 M. Yes. And that was in the NEP, and the House allowed it. And according to the Secretary, that 500 is really not sufficient. Branding is not just a slogan. It is the overall communications, which would also include, I believe, the payment of airtime, in specific programs globally, internationally, and other countries have 10 times more of their budgets for branding. So this is not just a communications plan with the slogan of Love the Philippines. It would also mean write-ups, articles, social media, and shows internationally. Yes, and roadshows, promotions. So, as a great believer in marketing and communications, the chair and I felt it was important to support the Department of Tourism. For after all, their contribution to GDP is a big amount. I think more than 10% of GDP. Especially now that we are challenged in terms of our image abroad, in terms of scandals that have rocked government, and we really wanted to support the DOT. So that is the basis. I did not, to be fair, I did not do it unilaterally. I consulted the chair, and it was actually a commitment of the chair, which I appreciate. I did not do it as an individual amendment. It was a committee amendment in due consultation with the chair. Thank you.
Yes, pinagtatakahan ko lamang dahil nakita natin na talagang bumabagsak ang turismo, may decrease ng 2.16%. So hindi ito mahahabol tulad ng sinabi ninyo dahil sa branding lamang. Hindi advertising ang problema, sang-ayon po ako sa inyo, at ang kinakailangan gawin ay isaayos ang intermodal transport, gawing mas mura ang pagbabiyahe at paglalakbay, at higit sa lahat yung peace and order and corruption scandals hindi nakakatulong sa Pilipinas. Pero itong gastos ng gastos para sa branding, paulit-ulit, hindi naman yata tama rin. Kasi napakaraming nangangailangan ng tulong sa ating bansa, mula sa magsasaka, sa mahihirap, sa urban poor, hanggang sa senior citizen. Bakit natin pinag-aaksayahan ng panahon ito, samantalang hindi pa nasasaayos ang intermodal transport sa ating mga isla, at hindi rin ume-epekto to, pabagsak ng pabagsak. Kaya para sa akin, hindi ito magandang investment.
I agree, and we take note of the comments of the good senator from Ilocos. I wish you had joined us in the hearing as well, but this is something we supported for DOT, and we approved it in the committee report as well. So I leave it to the body. Thank you.
Well, I am a firm believer of tourism. For me, low-hanging fruit ang tourism sa atin. Tama ko kayo, Senator Amy, na naging very challenging ang tourism sa atin, lalong-lalo na nawala yung Chinese market sa atin. So more so, we should explore other markets. We should market our country or even directly the islands to the different areas. So that's why nung hearing ho kami, isa sa mga strategy po ng Department of Tourism is to look for other markets. That's why they needed extra funding to explore other markets and to attract other tourists to compensate for the slowdown in the Chinese market. No? So yan po yung rationale, kaya po tayo nagdagdag ng pondo sa kanila. At a multiplier effect is not only Metro Manila but to the countryside, no? Sa Camiguin, lalong-lalo na may airport na ho sila, nakulang yata ang pondo pero nadagdagan na.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Negros
Thank you, Your
Occidental,
Honors.
sa Cagayan de Oro, sa Samar, sa Ilocos Sur, ang dami nating mga magagandang sites. But we need to market it kasi hindi alam ng mga kababayan ho natin. Hindi alam ng mga turista, hindi rin alam minsan ng mga kababayan natin na kung gaano kagaganda. Palawan is voted one of the best islands in the whole world. So isa yan sa mga dapat ho nating i-market outside of the Philippines. So that's why we deemed it appropriate to just increase their budget by a fraction so that they can improve their reach.
Salamat.
源自丹麥嘅牛油曲奇，以精選嘅材料，經過不斷改良嘅配方，帶出非一般嘅香味口感。丹麥藍罐曲奇為你特別嘅時刻加冕。
Alala ko during our hearing, pinaalala sa amin na 8.9% nga ng GDP ay galing diretso sa tourism, and 13.8% of our total population are directly employed through tourism. Pag indirect pa ay halos 30% ng ating populasyon ay nagatrabaho, apektado sa tourism. Tour guide, driver, cook, tagalinis, ang dami talaga. So, this is the low-hanging fruit. We're not a manufacturing giant. Agriculture is suffering due to climate adversity. Tourism is there. Anumang sulok ng kapuluan sa sa northern Palawan, sa Camiguin na isla, sa Bacolod City at sa Slow Food Network, sa Bataan na Montemar, for example, or sa Acuzar area. So Nueva Ecija, magagandang maraming areas. Sa Ilocos region, kay Kong Mihan, Vegan Even Canton. Siyempre, si Cagayan de Oro at Northern Bukidnon, kila Migs at kila Rufus. Sa Samar, napakagrami dyan mga caves, magaganda at mga beach areas. At pati naman sa Valenzuela, maganda. Ano mapupuntahan sa inyo? Yung museo ninyo.
Maraming salamat.
Oo, sa amin sa Antique. So, kailangan ng... Kasi how can you visit something that you don't know exists? So, kailangan ng promotion, kailangan ng kaalaman. Yon. And
Akin
don't
lang
worry, itong 500 million, napakalaking pondo ito. Kaya nga, i-convene natin yung oversight natin para malaman natin saan napunta at ika-quantify natin yung impact nito sa trabaho. Thank you.
Yes, tanggap ko po lahat yon. Subalit sa kabila nito, maliwanag na yung domestic tourism ay tumataas, bagsak na bagsak ang ating foreign tourism. Kaya para sa akin, bakit tayo gumagastos sa CNN at iba't iba pang napakamamahal na mga outlet samantalang hindi naman nagsisipunta ang mga taga ron hanggang hindi natin maisaayos ang ating peace and order, ang infrastructure, and intermodal transport. Napakamahal umikot sa Pilipinas pag hinambing mo sa Vietnam, sa Thailand at iba pang lugar. Unahin po natin ang kinakailangan, hindi yung walang tigil ng paggagastos ng advertising sa mga outlet, ng mga dayuhan na hindi naman interesado pumunta rito dahil natatakot pa rin. Yun lang po. First things first.
May puntos at naniniwala po ako sa sinasabi nyo, dapat ayusin natin ang bahay natin bago tayo mag-imbita. But in the meantime na inaayos, kailangan din pinopromote natin. At nawala nga sa atin ang Japanese market, sayang. Kailangan i-attract natin. At maraming mga untapped markets, including the European market. That's why we need branding and promotions and all of the marketing and promotional requirements.
Kung ganon, dapat maintenance level lang hanggat hindi pa naaayos ang mga kinakailangan ayusan, dapat maintenance level lang, ibig sabihin yung net na nasa 500 million. Bakit idodoble na hindi pa naman handa ang ating mga tourism destinations? Sa totoo lang.
Actually, if you, I'm looking at a research about PowerPoint pala ito ng Department of Tourism. Ang marketing budget ng Thailand is $167 million. Ang Malaysia is $262 million. And Singapore is $431 million. Tayo is $52 million. So even in around ASEAN, malayong-malayo po yung ating marketing budget. And we all know that Thailand receives close to about 50 million tourists. No? So
Yes, precisely, Mr. Chair. At the rate they're receiving tourists, sa cost per head, ang layo naman kasi natin. Yun lang, yung ating cost per head, napakalayo naman talaga at wala namang resultang pumapasok na ganong kadami dito.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, yes, good that we talk about tourism because Secretary Frasco recently published the roadmap for tourism in our Muslim areas. Yan nakalimutan natin. Now we thought that the Muslim areas there is no peace and order, and there are no historical sites nor culinary products. The recent publication of Secretary Frasco would now give a roadmap of where to go in our Muslim provinces and cities. And they are peaceful. There's relative peace in Mindanao. And so this is an area, sector, which has quite been it has been neglected for some time, Mr. Chairman. But now, we are opening up the historic sites in our Muslim areas and the culinary delights in this area. So we congratulate Secretary Frasco. Now this branding, we do not have a change of new brand. This is an expansion of the drive and the campaign to get more tourists here in the Philippines. And we hope that with Secretary Frasco, we can have more tourists to Mindanao, and not only Mindanao, like again de Oro, as mentioned by Senator Lugarda, we have our whitewater rafting, the best in Asia, but also especially in our Muslim areas, which are now open to tourism, providing jobs and income to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. With that, I failed to mention the budgets of the other sub-agencies of Department of Tourism. The Intramuros Administration, 101 million pesos. Under it is Tourism, Marketing and Promotions, 10.7 million pesos. Parks and Development Committee, 316 million pesos. Subsumed under it is Satellite Parks, 172 million pesos. So
Correction, you read this as 101, this is 161. Intramuros
sorry, in Intramuros,
Read it as 101.
it's 161, not 101. I think I made a mistake. So, with that, any motion or any?
Move to approve.
Duly seconded. The budget of the Department of Tourism is hereby approved. And I appreciate the comments of Senator Amy Marcos. Those are very valid points. And we will request the standing committee on tourism to come up with a hearing looking at the holistic picture of our tourism industry. So with that, we go to the Department of Trade and Industry. This is the subcommittee chaired by Senator Amy Marcos.
On the part of the House, for the Department of Trade and Industry, the HGAB amount reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 9,604,643,000.
Madam Chair.
Okay, sorry. All right, for the Office of the Secretary, 7.3 billion pesos. Implementation of the MSME Development Plan and other initiatives to promote the growth of MSME, 805 million pesos. Shared Services Facility, 569 million pesos. Development Facilitation and Promotion of Exports and Investment, domestic and foreign, 959 million pesos. Formulation of strategic plans, programs, and policies to develop competitive industries, 827 million pesos. Monitoring and enforcement of FTL, including consumer complaints handling, 388 million pesos. General Management and Supervision, 2.2 billion pesos. Pangkabuhayan sa pagbangon at ginhawa, 80 million pesos. Board of Investments,
信就會好。即使病倒，樂信依然喺度。樂信咳水，幫你止咳、化痰、通鼻塞，真正藥效同你 KO 咳嗽症狀。
565 million pesos. Cooperative Development Authority, 1.2 billion pesos. General Management and Supervision, 469 million pesos. Formulation of plans and programs including monitoring and evaluation, maintenance of management information system and quality management system, 36 million pesos. Registration of cooperatives and amendments, tama ba? 49.9 million pesos. Regulation of cooperatives, formulation of guidelines, rules and regulations, 103 million pesos. Case prevention, investigation, prosecution, adjudication, and enforcement, 57 million pesos. Cooperative Development Program, provision of technical assistance on cooperative development, research communication, and advocacy, standard setting and accreditation, awards and recognition, and documentation of best practices, capability building program for cooperatives and project development assistance, 566 million pesos. The Design Center of the Philippines, 269 million pesos. Under it is Design Promotion and Industry Development, 124 million pesos. Any questions?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Question, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask, Mr. Chairman, where the budget for the supply chain and logistics paradigm is found in this budget. Because, you know, Mr. Chairman, we have to support the supply chain and logistics program because it reduces the supply chain and logistics program would reduce prices of medicines, food, basic commodities, and necessities and prime commodities to address gaps in the supply chain. May we know where it is here? Supply chain
The
and
Vice Chair
logistics.
would care to...
I have no idea. This is a very...
Mr. Chairman, in the DA, there is also an agri fisheries logistics office. There has to be a fully supported logistics office to reduce prices in this country.
Well, those items, Congressman Rufus, will be part of the operations of the Department of Trade and Industry. It's not here because these are just the amendments that we propose, but in the regular budget, you know, for example, in the promotion of MSMEs, in looking at
Precisely, yes.
different aspects of industry like logistics, is part of their operation budget. No? This is only for the amendments. But just to answer your question straight, yes, it's part of their mandate. Therefore, the budget to look at logistics and the constraints on logistics, it's part of their operations budget.
Thank you. I just wish to emphasize that if there is one program that we should support, it should be the supply chain and logistics program of the Department of Trade and Industry. And probably, you know, in the succeeding budget cycles, we will be able to request the Senate, Budget Committee and Finance Committee, and our committee chairman for appropriations in the House to look at increasing the supply chain and logistics budget under the Department of Trade and Industry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there is any other document that supports it.
Well, we'll supply you with the document, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I support this this budget and second the motion of Senator Erwin. Thank you.
Thank you. Duly seconded the budget of trade and industry.
May I manifest,
Yeah.
please?
Okay.
Representative Javi Benitez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, Madam Chair, medyo kinakabahan ako dito. Ang active at tatapang po ating mga kagalang-galang ng mga senators. Palihog lang ko manifest, Mama. Damang ihikod riyoy. Okay. Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, as a chairperson of the Special Committee on Creative Industries, may I respectfully bring to your attention the budget for the creative industries. Ano po ito? Klaro ko lang po para nasa dapat pa sa 2026 pero 2027 na po. I would just like to note that the creative industries generated 7.94% of our GDP in 2024. That is equivalent to 1.94 trillion pesos. Further, in 2024, 7.5 million Filipinos were employed in the creative industry sector. So this accounts for 15.4% of the national employment. All of this data demonstrates that the creative industry is one of the fastest growing and most promising sectors in our country. As economist Bernardo Villegas said, the creative industry can serve as an effective stopgap measure for the economy. And I believe in the meantime, while we build up our STEM capabilities, by providing immediate job creation and stimulating local business activity. And I believe the creative industries is our bright spot for our country.
But despite this, the approved budget for the Malikhaing Pinoy program, which is DTI's flagship program for the creative industries, currently stands at a meager 50 million pesos. So nag-request po sila sa DBM to put into the NEP 660 million. Nag-request po sila through the House, HGAB. So it was rejected sa NEP, it was rejected sa HGAB, at rineject po ulit ito sa Senate. So, but it is a far cry from the 660 million pesos. Malayong-malayo po ang budget na inallocate natin para sa creative industries kumpara sa contribution nito sa ating ekonomiya. I also wish to bring to your attention po that this request is not without basis because beginning June 2026, pursuant to Republic Act number 12023 imposing VAT on digital services, the government is projected to generate, it started in June, so the collections for the VAT digital services is about 4 to 5 billion pesos this year. And so that means for 2026, the total collections may bring about 10 billion pesos. So of this, 5% is mandated for the development of the creative industry, amounting to about 500 million pesos. And the law exclusively states that it should go to the creative industries. By providing sufficient funds for the Malikhaing Pinoy program and or possibility is the Creative Industries Development Fund, we can empower our creatives to do more and contribute more to our GDP. And with additional funding, mas may pakita natin ang creativity at talento ng mga Pilipino sa iba't ibang sektor tulad ng film, music, design, animation, gaming, publishing, fashion, at hanggang digital content. So, Madam and Mr. Chair, I would like to also mention that the Philippines will be hosting the 2026 ASEAN Summit, where the creative industry is one of the key priorities. Ang sabi po ng ating President is BBM is the priority economic development is within the creative industries. And the President proclaimed that the visiting delegates from our ASEAN neighbors will experience the spirit of the Filipino people. We would definitely need more than 50 million if we want to realize the President's promise to warmly welcome our delegates for ASEAN, especially with plans for the Creative Industries Month in September. So, uulitin ko lang po, this representation fully understands the limited to zero fiscal space and to not have a precedent sa ating BICAM para na lang po ito sa 2027. Ngunit bilang chairman ng Special Committee on Creative Industries, gusto ko lang po i-manifest ito. So, yun lang po at sana sa 2027, the creative industries, masunod po ang ating batas na bigyan na karapat-dapat na pondo galing sa especially ang collections ng digital services VAT. So marami po nagtatanong sa akin, how do we empower our creatives to rival also those in our neighboring ASEAN countries? So kailangan po ng government support and government incentives. So maraming salamat po. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Chair? Sangayon po ako sa sinabi ni Representative Javi Benitez na isang malaking pagkakamali ang iwaksi ang pag-asa at pangarap ng ating mga kabataan na umaasa na lamang sa creative industries para makamtan ang trabaho na ninanais nila. Lumalawak ang mga nawawalan ng trabaho sa ating bansa, higit sa lahat sa mga fresh graduate. Tinanggal na natin yung kalahi seeds, yung sanang transitional phase nila, halos wala ng pera doon. Eto, yung mga gig workers, yung digital jobs, yung creative industry na ipaglalaban ko na siya ay likas na talento ng Pinoy. Pagkat ang Pilipino ay isang malikhain na tao, puno ng talento at ng sining. Hindi tayo magaling sa agham dahil kulang sa pagkakataon. Wala rin sa atin ang maging malaking sports or atleta, pwera lang sa iilang bahagi ng ating games. Pero wala sigurong tututol sa akin na sadyang malikhain at talentado ang Pinoy. Kaya talagang nakakalungkot na 50 million lang ang dinudulot, samantalang sa iba't ibang bahagi ng budget makikita natin na kalaki-laki ng binibigay. Ito na lamang ang pag-asa, sinira pa.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may respond.
Representative Alan T.
I think I will yield to Congressman Javi first.
Again, Representative Javi Benitez.
Very quickly lang po, I do agree with the good Senator Ami that ang ating natural talent as Filipinos, no, nakikita po yan sa creative industries, and sinasabi po ng ating mga ASEAN neighbors na ang gagaling po ng talent ng ating mga Pinoy. So hopefully ma-support po ito. Ang dami po nagtatanong, especially to compare, I don't mean to compare, but how successful po sa South Korea sa kanilang K-pop, K-drama. Siguro sa ating sa room na to may mga fans po ng K-pop, K-drama. Ako yung nanay ko po during the pandemic nanood ng Crash Landing on You. Ang kanyang wallpaper si Ji Chang-wook na po. So kung may mga nakilala sa kanya, but I hope the next time sana na po Pilipino naman. Thank you.
In fact, actually, I authored and sponsored the Digital Service Provider Law, which carved out 5% from the collection from digital service providers, katulad po ng mga Netflix, ng Amazon Prime. So, pag ngayon nangongolekta na ho ang BIR dito sa mga non-resident digital service providers. Unfortunately, next year hindi nila na-earmark yung 5% to the creative industries, no. So I think because of the there's a timing issue between the implementation of the law and also when the budget was created. But nevertheless, I will request the Committee on Ways and Means and also the Trade and Industry Committee to look at this. Sayang kasi talagang in-earmark yun. In fact, si Congressman Toff de Venecia ang request to include it in the BICAM of that law. So at pumayag naman yung mga conferees rin. So but nevertheless, merong 200 million na naka-appropriate for the creative industries. No, hindi pa ito yung 5%. These are just minimum amounts. No, so at least meron ng working figure for the creative industry.
Yes, thank you very much. I was going to mention exactly that the 5% that should be owing to all digital transactions per the bill of our good chairman has not yet been implemented with regard to the creative industries. This is sadly lacking given that so much of the creative sales and purchases are done online. So it's most important that some data is finally obtained and received are actually produced so that the rightful 5% be endowed the creatives in this country, surely the very best and most and brightest of the Filipinos.
Elixir 膠原抗皺槍，重點擊退皺紋。Color Generator 激活膠原，佩戴高純維 A 抗皺成分，反彈膠原壓力，皺紋減少45%。膠原抗皺槍。
Madam Chair, quick response po kay Chairwin. Chairwin, we understand, and I understand that is why when I asked in the first day of DBCC sa House budget briefings, I requested the commitment of then Secretary Recto and then Secretary Pangandaman of the DOF and the DBM respectively, if they may be able to commit for 2026, but they said that it will be more eligible for 2027 because of the timing issue. So thank you, Chairwin, and I earnestly hope, I'm optimistic for the following year. Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Representative Alan T.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, my question, in the Senate version on the Board of Investment, locally funded projects, the under CARS program, the amount of 225 million was removed and reallocated to unprogrammed appropriation. Likewise, the revitalizing the automotive industry for competitive enhancement or raise in the amount of 250 million was also removed and reallocated to unprogrammed appropriation. May I know the reason why it was reallocated to unprogrammed? Likewise, Mr. Chairman, under the CAR program, in the unprogrammed appropriation, under the Senate version or revision, there was an increase of 3.987 billion. Can you also kindly confirm? Thank you.
Itong Cars and Race program is meron ho kasi tayong utang doon sa mga car manufacturers. In short, to make it simple, yung mga car manufacturers, we invited them to come here, and every time they produce a car, tayo nagbabayad ng kanilang mga taxes, no? Income tax, VAT, and other percentage tax and other forms of taxes. Gobyerno ang sumasagot niyan. So, government only needs an entry in order to book that in their books and recognize that by the investors, by the car manufacturers. So there's no cash out kasi government Bureau of Treasury will only pay BTR, so wala namang cash out siya. Ang kailangan lang niya isang legal basis or isang legal entry na pwede nilang gamitin para mag-issue ng SARO, no, doon sa BIR. So with that, sabi namin, since wala namang cash out nito, it's just entries, inilipat po namin sa program. It's a very technical process. In fact, kausap ko dito ang BOI, si Yusef Perry, for a long time, pina-explain ko. And it's really just an entry. No? Walang lalabas na cash dyan. So even though it's unprogrammed, walang lalabas na cash, they will just use the entry as a basis for them to issue the SARO.
Yes, if I may add, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator, I may would know also this very well.
If I may add, magkasabay kami nag-hearing niyan at hindi namin maintindihan kasi nga hindi naman pala kailangan magbayad ng cash. Pang-book entry lang to. All the committee needed is a DBM, issuance of an allotment order. Yun lang yun. Kaya linagay na lang namin sa unprogrammed kasi hindi naman kailangan bayaran ng cash outright, kundi book entry lang katulad nga ng sinabi ni Chair.
Mr. Chairman, the car manufacturing automobile resurgence, there are two participants, Toyota and Mitsubishi. Under the program, there will be a number of set of cars by the thousands to be produced. And there is the subsidy given by government for each car that is produced by Toyota and Mitsubishi. There are certainly arrearages. Billions have not been paid to Toyota and Mitsubishi. So I'd like to know how we're going to include that in the budget. Mabayaran naman each a program. That's why they're here, Toyota. They're producing Vios and then the Mitsubishi. And they are subsidized precisely to lower the prices for the Filipino consumers. And so we will know, because really in our hearings in the Committee on Trade and Industry, that came out that there are billions of unpaid arrearages, unpaid of the production of the cars under the competitive
為痛為漲，加為事項3分鐘，學別為不息。邦民貸款新手獎，申請輸入 Smart 送500蚊禮券，中谷借錢更易還，咪俾錢中介。
comprehensive automotive resurgence program. May we know whether that can be addressed already? Nakakahiya eh.
Yes.
Because, Yes,
If I
Madam
may,
Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Chair, the Board of Investment submitted a total credit of 3.987 or almost 4 billion payable to Toyota and the other participating car makers. Hence, they need to be paid, but they assured us that the settlement of these accounts only requires the issuance of an allotment order by the DBM. Yun na lang ang inaantay kasi hindi nga cash out to. Hindi naman binabayaran ng cash to. Kundi yung allotment order lang to avail of the tax and other incentives. So book entry lang to. Kaya linagay na lamang namin sa unprogrammed.
Thank you, Senator Jaime. So therefore, I think the DBM, it's already in arrear. No? So they have not been paid. And they are really appealing, Toyota and Mitsubishi, that they will be paid. So they will continue manufacturing, and then the prices of these cars under this program will continue to be low. So can we also, Mr. Chairman, be able to get the attention of the DBM, that the BICAM asked them to give already the entry, the what you call allocation center?
Yes, there's an allotment order.
Allotment order, if we can already have that. 4 billion.
As a matter of fact, just to make certain, like we said, first there's the simple need of an allotment order, and secondly, it's already located in the unprogrammed in the event that it's necessary, which is most unlikely. Pasok na siya sa unprogrammed din. Parang kumbaga double book na yan. Pero sigurado naman siguro i-issue na ng DBM yung kinakailangan.
Thank you, Senator Jaime. You're taking the cudgels of our consumers because with this subsidy, we are able to lower the prices for these cars manufactured. Mitsubishi is Toyota is Vios and Mitsubishi. Thank you very much. So we will be able to have the DBM assure the earliest issuance of the allotment order. Thank you very much, Senator Jaime.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Just one question. So, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, can the DBM issue an allotment order under unprogrammed appropriation? As we all very well know, that under unprogrammed, it's a standby appropriation. So, is the DBM made the representation that they can issue an allotment order under unprogrammed appropriation?
Yes, they've done this before. This is not a new process for them. They just need a book entry so that DBM will recognize the entry and they will just issue a SARO, an allotment order. So they've recognized this procedure. In fact, the BOI appreciates the inclusion of this even in the unprogrammed appropriations. No? And whole amount rin siya, so mababayaran na lahat po ng utang, ng arrears. No? Alright. With that, any motion for... Alright, so...
Move to approve, Madam Chair.
Duly seconded. The budget of the Department of Trade and Industry is hereby approved. Next will be other executive offices.
On the part of the House, under the Anti-Money Laundering Council, the NEP amount, the HGAB amount reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 170,161,000.
Just, we can go through all the other executive offices, so we can just make a run-through of all the OEOs.
With regard to the Anti-Red Tape Authority, the same. So the HGAB amount reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 478,301,000. For the Climate Change Commission, also the same. The HGAB amount reflects the same amount as in the NEP, which is 183,056,000. For the Commission on the Filipino Language, the same. The HGAB amount reflects the same amount as the NEP, which is 113,115,000. For the Energy Regulatory Commission, the amount in the HGAB is the same as in the NEP, which is 877,895,000. For the Film Development Council of the Philippines, also the same amount as in the NEP, which is 308 1,486,000. For the Marawi Compensation Board, the amount in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 1,213,390,000. For the Metropolitan Baguio City, La Trinidad, Itogon, Sablan, Tuba, and Tublay Development Authority, the same amount is in the age gap as in the NEP, which is 20,156,000. For the Movie and Television Review and Classification Board, the amount reflected in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 51,997,000. For the National Amnesty Commission, also the same. The amount of the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 217,544,000. For the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, the amount reflected in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 1,187,774,000. The same case with all the attached agencies. For the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples, the amount reflected in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 1,726,625,000. For the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity, the amount reflected in the age gap is also the same as in the NEP, which is 7,283,437,000. For the Optical Media Board, the amount in the NEP, in the age gap rather, is the same as in the NEP, which is 66,816,000. For the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, the amount in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 4,345,135,000. For the Philippine Space Agency, the amount reflected in the age gap is also the same as in the NEP, which is $1,051,900,000. For the Philippine Sports Commission, the amount reflected in the age gap is the same as in the NEP, which is 1,808,000, and that would be it. That would be all the executive offices, other executive offices.
Thank you, Chairperson Mika. On the part of the Senate, we propose for other executive offices, Anti-Money Laundering Council, 333 million pesos. Implementation of Anti-Money Laundering Program, 333 million pesos. Anti-Red Tape Authority, 610 million pesos. Ako mamaya na rin, Chief.
Okay guys, lipat tayo sa kabila. Sandali ah.
All my agencies tapos na, no?
Please forward
General
to-
Management and Supervision.